The following episode contains spoilers. If you don't want me to ruin the movie for you, pause this podcast and come back when you've seen it. From this point on, everyone is at their own risk. Sincerely yours, Management. Welcome everyone to Lights Camera Podcast, a program dedicated to all those cinema lovers. I'm Sofia Erler and I'm glad to be one more episode here with you. In this episode, we'll be talking about Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. As always, I invite you to get comfy and grab some snacks. With no further ado, let's get down to this episode. Jules Winfield and Vincent Vega are two hitmen who are out to retrieve a suitcase stolen from their employer mob boss Marcellus Wallace. Wallace has also asked Vincent to take his wife Mia out for a few days later when Wallace himself will be out of town. Also, Butch College is an aging boxer who is paid by Wallace to lose his fight. The lives of these seemingly unrelated people are woven together, comprising a series of funny, bizarre, and uncalled for incidents. Hi guys! I know. I've been MIA, but your girl here has college and work and personal life shit to attend to, but no worries, I'm back. Better than ever. With 10 more episodes for this second season of Lights Camera Podcast. And today, episode 11 is starting off strong. We are kicking this second season with a very popular movie known by everyone and loved without any arguments by others. Yes, my darlings, we're talking about Pulp Fiction. As I mentioned, Pulp Fiction is a movie that tells various stories that are connected at some point. It's a movie that everyone loves, but not everybody can tell you why they love it, and that's why I wanted to do this episode. To explain a little bit why Pulp Fiction is a world-famous movie, but also for me, it's not considered a cult movie. Okay, Pulp Fiction. The movie that put Tarantino and American cinema on the radar. And this was because it was one of the first American films to win Best Film at the Cannes Film Festival. And also to be invited to all the major film festivals. So this is like a big deal for Pulp Fiction. You know, not only for Pulp Fiction, but for Quentin Tarantino himself and the American movie industry. Okay? So these are one of the reasons why Pulp Fiction is considered a gem, because there are many reasons. The idea of the film was born because Tarantino wanted to base this movie off of like the comics that came out in the 70s and the 80s called Pulp Fiction. They were this little books with drawings with many plots full of colors that took you from one side of the plot to the other without you not knowing how you got to that point in the story. You know, that was like one of the greatest thing about the movie. Tarantino brought the whole literary culture to the big screen, and that's how Pulp Fiction was born. And it's actually really interesting because that's actually how Pulp Fiction works. You see like this whole compilation of stories being told on the movie, and you end watching the movie and you just don't know how you got to the ending, but you know you just watched the movie because you just did, but you just don't know how to explain how you got to one thing to another. And you know what makes Pulp Fiction so special? Well, let me start with the aesthetics of this movie. A vintage style film which for the 90s has a spectacular photography, captures all the bright and striking colors of the Pulp Fictions without disturbing your eyes. It's simply beautiful. And most importantly, the key element of Pulp Fiction, and not just Pulp Fiction, Tarantino's whole film career, it's the fucking screenplay. Tarantino may be a genius for having captured an entire literary culture in a movie and using the best photography and getting amazing actors, but what he has to be applauded for is the way he writes his movies. For example, Pulp Fiction has a lot of black comedy, and racial slurs and insults, but it's so well written that it's very difficult to identify. It's mind-blowing. And it's like, if you get to identify these racial slurs or black comedy, you're like, damn, god damn, I can't get mad about how racist this is because it's so well written. And that's the thing that Tarantino is well known for his amazing screenplays. So this is why, like another reason, Pulp Fiction is a gem. Now, for some time now, people have Pulp Fiction on a pedestal above anything else, and they've called it an underground movie, which is it's not, because for a movie to be an underground movie, I imagine it's a movie that no one sees or no one is interested about, and everyone loves Pulp Fiction. Everyone talks about Pulp Fiction as if Pulp Fiction was the one who started cinema. Or they talk about Tarantino as if he's the maximum exponent of cinema. He's one of the important directors, I know this, but he didn't start cinema. Like, I know it's important. He's important, his movies are important, but come on, guys. Let's not all act like, Pulp Fiction, I would recommend you to watch it, but you wouldn't understand it. No, guys. I mean, nobody understands Pulp Fiction. It's like, I've seen it like 3 times now, because that movie is like 3 hours long. I've seen it like 3 times, and I don't know what the hell. Like, this is something we all have in common while we watch Pulp Fiction. We all can name scenes, we all can recreate the scenes, but we can't tell when we're transitioning to one scene to another, because the movie it's that interesting. You're watching it and you don't even know when you're jumping to one scene to another. So yes, personally, okay, hear me out. Personally, my opinion, please don't go like, Sophia, why are you criticizing Pulp Fiction? It's an amazing movie and it needs no criticism. I mean, yes, it's good, but personally, I think Pulp Fiction is not a cult movie. And why is that? Well, I think that cult movies should be, a thing that brings together a whole generation through an accurate conversation about the movie and all its factors, knowing the stories, the dialogues, how to interpret the scenes, etc. For me, Pulp Fiction is not a cult film, but it's a film of general cinema culture, since many of its scenes are really iconic, starting with Samuel Jackson's dialogue, Mia and Vincent's dance competition, the scene where Mia overdoses and John Travolta has to bring her back to life with a huge giant ass needle. For me, it's just not a cult movie, because people can remember the scenes, but I don't think everyone can remember the monologues or the dialogues, and I don't know, it's just, for me, it's not something that has brought everyone together. Because yes, everyone talks about Pulp Fiction, but everyone talks about Pulp Fiction having seen the movie? That's the difference. This is like a phenomenon. People love to talk about films, but they just talk about what they've heard of. They've never watched the film and talk from their point of view. So I think that's why it's not a cult film, because not everyone has seen the movie and not everyone is talking from their perspective about the movie. Now, I don't love or hate Pulp Fiction, don't get me wrong. For me, it's just another movie I saw and say, hey, that's interesting. But I don't think I'm gonna keep watching this movie. 3 times is enough. And now, I'll give you the rates given to this movie. IMDb gave it an 8.9. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 92%. Metacritic gave it a 94%. What do you guys think? Personally, I think it deserves these rates. So that's it for this episode. I hope you liked it. And what did you guys think about this movie? Was it good? Bad? I really hope you guys let me know. Remember to follow Lights Camera Podcast on Instagram and Facebook to be notified of new content, to give your opinions, or decide what other series or movies I should talk about. If you're listening this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so very much for listening, and we'll tune again next week, cause I'm back, baby! Take care, drink lots of water, and keep consuming cinema. Bye!